A long time ago, when I was about 14 years old, some neighbors of ours notified my dad of a dog that was left locked on the back porch of a house that a family moved away from to skip out on rent.
So I went down and looked, and sure enough, he was on a big wooden back porch. The gate was closed where he couldn't come down the steps into the yard. There was no food or water anywhere. And I went over and got a big bucket of water at my house and brought it back over to him and set it inside the gate. And he backed off and barked at me and barked. He was skinny, and I decided after a few minutes that he obviously hadn't gotten anything to eat either, so I went back and got a tray full of dry dog food and set that over the gate as well. He barked some more, he was scared, and I left him overnight and came back the next day, and obviously he'd eaten the food and drunk the water. So I refilled the food, kept doing that for 2 or 3 days. He gradually got better until he at least quit barking. And at that point I stepped inside the gate, closed it behind me so he couldn't get out and get away, and sat there and talked to him. And over the next day he decided that I was all right. I have always wondered what it was like the first 6 or 9 months of his life, or however long it may have been. Certainly he was younger than a year, but he was scared to death of a rattling chain, and I wonder if somebody had beaten him with a chain at one time. He was also scared of almost any noise of metal on metal, because just the slightest metallic sound and he would cower and jump sideways. He's much better now, but I still remember thinking this dog's been abused. I eventually got him used to me enough that he'd let me touch him, scratch him, and I got a collar on him and a leash. He was still scared, but he was getting better. And at that point I brought him over here to the house so that the rest of the family could see him. I remember trying to find a home for him and asked several veterinarians that I called on if they knew anybody needed a big dog. None of them did. And in the meantime, I was handling him more and feeding him all the time, and he was getting better. And eventually, we decided that we would bring him over here. And at that point, we had to decide how we were going to house him. So we decided that we would build a pen. We had a dog house already and picked the most likely place in the backyard and fenced it in a couple of days' time with dog wire and posts and gates, and moved him in. I had decided at some point we were going to have to let this dog off the leash just to see how well he'd do. And by then we had socialized him enough and fed him plenty to where he knew a good deal when he saw it. He wasn't any fool, and we didn't think he'd leave for good even if he did run off for a little ways. But he didn't even do that, and to this day he mostly stays at this end of the street, on this side of the street, and for the most part in his yard.
Duke's a pretty smart dog. He knows how to sit, shake, speak, lie down, and roll over. But what really sets him apart is how his relationships are so different with every member of the family.
Well, I think what makes my relationship special with Duke is that I look forward to seeing him when I come home, or when I get up in the morning and go out to let him out, and we walk up to get the newspaper, and then we walk back and we get his food for the morning, and he's always so joyful about all of this that you never catch him in a bad mood. Well, I think Duke has come to the point that he realizes that I'll scratch him pretty much any time he shows up, which he does frequently. And I'll scratch him pretty well, and then 30 seconds later, after he's walked off, he walks right back up, as if, well, you haven't scratched me in a long time, I really need scratching again.
Duke and I have an understanding. Not like the rest of the family. He doesn't expect me to be them. He does, though, come to me for things that he needs. He is gentle with me, but he communicates what he needs. His water bowl is in the kitchen. He comes and stands and lets me know, looks expectantly. So I look and the bowl's empty and I go fill his water bowl, and sure enough, he happily laps his water. When I'm the only one home at supper time, he also lets me know that it's supper time, and he just about bounces out the back door when it's supper time, and is very excited for his food. And then he lets me know when he wants to come back in. I'm sometimes sitting in the family room and I see a tail, just see a tail above the windowsill. He's out there on the deck waiting for somebody to let him in. He doesn't bark, he doesn't scratch, but he does know he can come to me for the things that he needs. So we have a wonderful understanding, and I think he's great.
I guess what makes my relationship with Duke special is that I'm the active medical professional in the family, and I don't see him that often. And so I pay attention to some of the details about his health, and I'm the one who comes over and rags on Dad to make him lose weight. And because I work at a vet clinic, I compare all dogs to him, and he's a perfect dog. Plus, as a person who owns 2 cats, I'm actually a dog person, and he's the dog I get to hang out with the most, which is nice.
Duke and I have a very special relationship. We're basically brothers. I play with him all the time. I'm the only one that'll roll around on the ground with him and fight him and run after him and chase him and play fetch with him. Duke likes going on walks. Duke likes the snow. He's much better in cold weather than warm weather. But he likes laying by the fireplace in the winter. While we all love him, I can't really say that Duke is the greatest dog in the world. He's not the smartest dog in the world. He's not the fastest dog in the world. But he's the greatest dog in our world, and that's what really counts.